Good afternoon, this is Dr. Doreste with the Cranial Release Technique. It's Sunday, June 2nd at 2:06 p.m. in New York City. And I want to thank Dr. John D. Ambrosio from New Jersey, one of our CRT practitioners that I just interviewed. His video is on the YouTube channel. And he sent me this article from sciencealert.com, and I will link the description underneath in the description. Scientists have found secret tunnels between the skull and the brain, and these are the actual microscopic images from the electron microscope. And I'm not going to read the whole article, but I do want to make a few points, and we'll start with, did you know that you have tiny tunnels in your head? That's okay because no one else did until recently, but that's exactly what a team of medical researchers have just found in mice and humans. Tiny channels that connect the skull bone marrow to the lining of the brain. Scroll down a bit here. The research shows they may provide a direct route for immune cells to rush in from the marrow into the brain in the event of damage. Previously, scientists had thought the immune cells were transported via the bloodstream from other parts of the body to deal with brain inflammation following a stroke, injury, or brain disorder. This new discovery suggests these cells have had a shortcut all along. The tiny tunnels were uncovered when a team of researchers set out to learn whether immune cells delivered to the brain following a stroke or meningitis originated from the skull or the larger of the two bones in the shin, the tibia. The specific immune cells they followed were neutrophils, the first responders of the immune squad. When something goes awry, these are among the first cells the body sends to the site to help mitigate whatever is causing the inflammation. The team developed a technique to tag the cells with fluorescent membrane dyes that act as cell trackers. They treated these cells with the dyes and injected them into bone marrow sites in mice. Tagged were injected into the skull and the green tagged cells into the tibia. Once the cells had settled in, the researchers induced several models of acute inflammation, including stroke and chemically induced meningoencephalitis. Okay, so that's infection of the meninges, the covering of the brain. They found that the skull contributed significantly more neutrophils to the brain in the event of stroke and meningitis than the tibia. But that raised a new question. How were the neutrophils being delivered? And it goes on to say, we started examining the skull very carefully, looking at it from all angles, trying to figure out how neutrophils are getting to the brain, said Dr. Narendorf of Harvard Medical School and the Massachusetts General Hospital in Boston. Unexpectedly, we discovered tiny channels that connected the marrow directly to the outer lining of the brain. And here's the electron microscope slide from the article showing you the connections, the tunnels. Using organ bath microscopy, which uses a bath to maintain the integrity of the tissue while it's being examined, the team imaged the inner surface of the mouse's skull. There they found microscopic vascular channels directly connecting the skull marrow with the dura, the protective membrane that encases the brain. Normally, red blood cells flow through these channels from the interior of the skull to the bone marrow, but in the case of stroke, they were mobilized to transport neutrophils in the opposite direction, from the marrow to the brain. This was in mice, though, and to find out if humans have something similar, they obtained pieces of skull from surgery and conducted detailed imaging. They noticed the channels were there as well, 5 times larger in diameter than the channels in the mouse skulls, in both the inner and the outer layer of bone. It's an amazing discovery because inflammation plays a role in many of the brain disorders, and this could help scientists understand more about the mechanisms at play. It could also help understand conditions such as multiple sclerosis, wherein the immune system attacks the brain. So here we go into autoimmune diseases, brain inflammation, the things we've discussed on previous videos. However, further research will be needed to conduct to determine the types of cells, aside from the neutrophils, that use these tiny tunnels. If the tunnels are there, it's probably not just the neutrophils, right? So, and the role that they play in various conditions. This research was published in Nature Neuroscience, and there's a link to that article from this article, which I will place down in the description below. So again, if we have the cranial bones here with the tunnels down to the dura mater, the outermost covering of the brain here, what then happens if these cranial bones are not moving properly, if they're misaligned and that movement that's normal and natural is not happening? I would only imagine that that would interfere and probably twist or close down these tunnels, making the immune response, which is necessary to help the brain, be decreased. Hence the need for regular CRT, cranial release technique. I found this article fascinating, and I want to thank again Dr. John D'Ambrosio from New Jersey. Thank you, John. Again, the website cranialrelease.com. If you're a practitioner or you know a practitioner that you think would benefit from learning cranial release, you can send them to the website at cranialrelease.com. They can click on the online training program button and learn how they can learn CRT, the cranial release technique, in the comfort of their home or office, which is an 8-module program to teach them everything there is to learn about the cranial release technique. This is Dr. Doreste. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Adios, my friends, and I will be in touch. Goodbye.